Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we are going to take a look at a new act by request, doing a Great Canned Heat cover of Going Up the Country. Now, this is an acoustic-based band, and it's also a band of siblings that's been around for, looks like, 25 years or so. I mean, they're all fairly young, but of course, being siblings, they could start young as well. So the name of the band is Kitty, Daisy, and Lewis. They're all members of the Durham family, based in Britain. Music influenced by R&B, blues, soul, punk, rock and roll, and West Indian music. They're all multi-instrumentalists playing guitar, piano, bass, drums, harmonica, banjo, lap steel, ukulele, xylophone, kitchen sink, essentially. And they've sold 250,000 records, which is pretty good for the 21st century. Not bad at all. So they have opened for Coldplay, among others, Stereophonics. So they've gotten out there and they have some success. That's great. Just looking at the very first frame, it does look like it's going to be an acoustic version. And actually going through that list of instruments that I just did, that doesn't surprise me either. It sounds to me like that's probably their specialty. So they actually did this, it looks like, in 2008. So it's been around for a bit. So this may even be an older video. I guess we'll just have to see. So Adrian, you know the Canned Heat song.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, we looked at it from Woodstock. The actual performance from Woodstock, unlike what's in the Woodstock movie, by the way, who went with the actual studio track. We saw the actual performance. So you can look through. In fact, I'll put it in the cards for you. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this more recent reinterpretation of the song and give our thoughts. Do you have any thoughts up front, Adrian?
I'm just psyched to hear it. I like the tune I heard on Woodstock, and I liked the live version that we saw.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's enough to start, I would say. All right. Let's go ahead and check this out, and we'll discuss afterwards.
All right.
I'm going up the country, babe, don't you wanna go? I'm going up the country, babe, don't you wanna go? I'll take you to some place I've never been before. I'm going where the water tastes like wine. I'm going where the water tastes like wine. Big jump in the water, stay drunk all the time. Gonna leave this city, got to get away. Gonna leave this city, got to get away. All the fussing and fighting made you know I shouldn't stay. The baby back and leave the truck, I know we've got to stay. I just exactly where we're gonna can't say, but we might even leave the USA. Cause it's a brand new game that I just want to play. But all you silly running, or screaming and crying, but you've got a home, man, and I've got mine. I'm going up the country, babe, don't you wanna go? I'm going up the country, babe, don't you wanna go? I'll take you to some place I've never been before. I'm going where the water tastes like wine. I'm going where the water tastes like wine. We can jump in the water, stay drunk all the time. Gonna leave this city, got to get away. Gonna leave this city, got to get away. All the fussing and fighting, man, no, I sure can't stay. The baby back will leave the truck, I know you've got something to say. But that's exactly where we're going, I can't say. But we might even leave the USA. Cause it's a brand new game that I just want to play. And all you see me running, or screaming and crying, cause you've got a home, man, and I've got mine.
Okay, so I think my understanding is the guy on the piano and then the two sisters, apparently, up front are the band. And I don't know who the others were, if those were their parents, perhaps. Might have been their mom on the double bass there, and maybe their dad on the... I mean, that's just a guess. Just based on the fact that a lot of times when you've got family bands, they tend to bring in family members, to round out as needed. But if anybody knows, let me know. That would be interesting to know. Adrian, what were your thoughts on that, first of
A
all?
swinging version of a classic. Really unique cover. It's just very interesting to listen to. And music evokes thoughts of blues and boogie woogie.
Yeah, I would agree with that. As a matter of fact, it reminds me of some of the Chess releases from the 50s and 60s, Howlin' Wolf records and things like that. I noticed that they had a vintage snare drum up there. It looked like a really old one, and it wasn't very deep. It was like maybe 3 inches deep. They had a Fender twin reverb up there, and I'm looking around going, what is being powered by the Fender twin reverb? Because you're not going to put the double bass through there. That's a no-no. You can't do that with those old speakers. But perhaps the acoustic guitar was being amplified that way. I'm just not sure. There wasn't anything that made a lot of sense to me about it. I mean, maybe the drum? I don't know. It threw me for a loop a little bit to see that. I'm like, I know everything up there was mic'd, but just to have that 1 amp there, I don't know if it was for atmosphere or what. It also had kind of the feel of a Chuck Berry song, the way they would have recorded that type of a thing back then, just without a complete, drum kit or anything. Very similar in a lot of ways. So those were the things I was thinking of.
I really noticed the harmonica.
Yeah, that's the other thing that made me think of Chess, I think, because, there's harmonica all over Howlin' Wolf records, Sonny Boy Williamson, Little Walter. Actually, a lot of blues records have harmonica regardless of the artist. But I like the sound. I like what they did there. I mean, they seem to be going for a throwback for sure, And as we noted last time we looked at this song, when we looked at the Woodstock version by Canned Heat, we also noted that it was originally by a guy named Henry Thomas, or at least he had recorded it in 1928, complete with the flute solo, or the recorder solo, or whatever that is, the woodwind that we hear in the Canned Heat version. He had it in 1928, which I thought was pretty cool. So it's kind of a timeless song that goes back a long way. It's not necessarily just related to Canned Heat. They did a real nice job with this. So, folks, why don't you let us know, are you a fan of this band? Have you ever seen them before? Do you know anything about them or their music? Is this your very first time being exposed to them? Or how about the song, Going Up the Country? Have you heard that one? Most people have that have been around for a while, but you never know. So let us know about that. If you have thoughts on this, leave those below as well. And if you have other suggestions for us, leave those as well. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed our presentation, please subscribe. All right. Thanks so much for joining us on this, and we will catch you on the next one. All right. Take care, folks.
See you all later.